Okay, so there was a very sensational trial that was going on in Louisville, 2011. This is from the Courier Journal. Defiant, obscene, and sometimes startling testimony. Monday, convicted murderer Joshua Gouker testified that he killed his 14-year-old stepson on May 11th, 2011 by beating him to death with a pipe. And he said it just felt right. It just felt right. Gouker told Jefferson County Jr. that his son, Josh Young, had no involvement with the slaying of Trey Zwicker. Nobody helped me, Joshua Gouker said. So this is a picture of Joshua Gouker right here. And let's see. It's testifying during the second week of the 17-year-old Joshua Young's murder trial. Gouker said he was angry that Trey's mother had aborted his child. I know it sounds monstrous, but if we were in the Old Testament, it would be the same thing. So Joshua Gouker is talking about an eye for an eye. Since his ex or whatever, his wife or his woman had aborted his child, and I don't know if it was morning after pill or even if it happened, I guess it did, or if it was like late term birth abortion, right? It was like she was 9 months pregnant, then got aborted, or she took care of it right away. I think all those questions matter. So Gouker, who is serving a life sentence in prison for Trey's murder, said he took the boy to a creek behind Liberty High School on East Indian Trail to confront him about stealing a lighter and a plate of food. Did you steal my lighter? Did you steal that plate of food? And then he killed him with a pipe that he rinsed in the creek. This is what Joshua Gouker admitted to. So the trial was for his son, Joshua Young, but and it might look like he's covered up for his son since he already had the life sentence. So he was just like, look, it's all me. I lied about the whole thing. I was trying to put him on it. And I don't know really what to believe. Either way, Joshua Gouker was the one who had masterminded. He was the person behind the whole thing. And his justification doesn't make any fucking sense whatsoever. Here is Trey Zwicker. This is Trey Zwicker. So when he took him out to the creek for confronting him about the lighter and the plate of food, Joshua Gouker testified that he and Trey smoked marijuana together at the creek, and that Trey picked up a pipe and began to hit it against a tree. When Gouker told the team that he would treat him like a man the next time he stole from him, Gouker said Trey brought up his father, Terry Zwicker. White then asked Gouker if he got angry and punched Trey in the face, knocked him down, and pulled the pipe out of the team's hand before beating him to death. That's a good version, Gouker responded. So he's a liar. He said, all my testimony beforehand was a lie. And then when they asked for specifics, Gouker said, you're being sadistic? You want to hear about all this? And she didn't press him on it. The prosecutor didn't press him on it, so we didn't actually get the details. Yes, we want to hear this, exactly what happened, who, how were you, what was going on, but they didn't answer that, those specific questions. So under cross-examination, Kathy Gouker admitted that Josh Gouker, she's a cousin and friend and neighbor, so Kathy Gouker was like right there in the middle of the entire, shit. And she admitted that Josh Gouker had been talking about McFarland getting an abortion and told her an eye for an eye before Trey's death. She said he never mentioned killing Trey. So Amanda McFarland, she didn't say much about how her 17-year-old stepson Josh may have been involved in the murder of her son, but her story may help construct a timeline of what happened the night Zwicker died. Left with very physical evidence, prosecutors will have to rely on witness accounts like McFarland's to put the details together. In December 2010, Amanda McFarland said she overheard a phone conversation between Gouker and his cousin Cassie when Gooker's phone accidentally called her. McFarland said she heard Gouker say Amanda is expendable. She was pregnant at the time and thought Gooker's comment meant the relationship wasn't important to him, so she had an abortion. Gouker and McFarland were on and off for about 6 months while Gouker was living with his cousin, who he was allegedly involved with sexually. In an interview after Gouker claimed he killed Trey Zwicker, Gouker referenced McFarland's abortion and stated, now we're even. Now we're even. So the whole reason I'm even mentioning this, having an argument with some fuck, some piece of shit, some fucking guy. And I was just pointing out how the Native Americans, there was genocide and the Pilgrims of Thanksgiving, sort of, pointing out that contradiction. And he was like, just get over it. What are you going to do? Give up your houses and all this stupid shit. But it's like, that was murder, you know, that was rape, plunder, pillage, and murder. That was a horrible, you know, what happened to the Native Americans was a horrible genocide. But apparently to people who's pro-life, they cannot see that straight up murder is wrong. They can't see it. Even if it's, you know, 500 years ago. 500 years ago, some white people killed Native Americans and you want to defend it. Why did that guy want to defend it? I don't fucking know. I think because you don't have a shred of morality to begin with. You don't have any, you know, any type of principles whatsoever. But it just made me think that this guy, you know, he's acting like the way Roe versus Wade language is written up is that once the baby is viable outside the mother's body, then it's its own entity. If you take the morning after pill, you don't even know if there's fertilized cells there or not. So you had sex, you took a pill, that's a murder. That's not a fucking murder. That's so fucking stupid. But if you're like a Joshua Gouker, then if you have sex and you take the morning after pill, then that means the person you had sex with is allowed to kill your children. So if you can't understand that murdering a 14-year-old, you know, young man, if you don't understand that murder and killing and beat him with a fucking club, right? Beating him with the club. You have sex, you have a morning after pill, that's murder to these pro-life right-wing fuckers. It's, you know, that's in their mind, it's murder and it's genocide. Oh my God, you need abortion clinics, is, you know, just terrorizing the nation, just killing all these people. That's a genocide, that's murder that they'll fucking talk about, but they don't say shit about, you know, the Native Americans. But that's fucked up. That's fucked up. If you can't tell the difference between killing a person who is not only way out of the womb, not just a bunch of cells, not just, you know, even like late-term birth abortion, you got fingers, toes, hands, eyes, heartbeat, all this other shit. But if you're out of the womb and you've lived for 14 years, that's not enough of a life to understand that that person's a life. And again, according to Josh Gouker, that's an eye for an eye. She aborted his kid, so he aborted hers, right? He killed her kid. Well, what did that kid, Trey Zwicker, what did Trey Zwicker do to anybody? He's 14 years old. What the fuck did he do? He didn't do a fucking thing. So it's not eye for an eye. If he's trying to punish her and she's the, you know, so-called murderer, that would make more sense. I don't think it had anything to do with that. I think he was just being a fucking prick. I think he just didn't like the kid for whatever fucking reason. Maybe he was interfering with the relationship. But to somehow justify it as eye for an eye, Trey Zwicker didn't kill anybody. Trey Zwicker didn't hurt anybody. And even the mother with her abortion, it was, you know, legal. It was done. And again, I don't know when it happened. The first, second, third, you know, month, was it late in the trimester? And even those arguments, you know, Trey Zwicker didn't do anything. So it's not fucking eye for an eye, but that's who these right-wing fuckers are. They're just like Joshua Gouker. They're just like that motherfucker. In Joshua Gooker's mind, you know, abortion isn't about protecting the life of the innocent. Joshua Gouker don't care about the life of no fucking innocent person. He took an innocent life. He took a 14-year-old, you know, kid's life. He fucking murdered them. So he doesn't know the difference between right and wrong, and you want to sit there and say you kill an unborn child and all that shit, fuck off. Because Trey Zwicker didn't have anything to do with the so-called abortion. So it's not eye for an eye, it's not just. But again, my main point is how you cannot tell the difference between, you know, Roe v. Wade is the baby out, the viable outside. So that gives you about a 6-week, you know, opportunity to get the procedure done. So you got 6 weeks, but then it becomes its own, you know, its own person. But if you know, if you can't understand that, and then, you know, these pro-lifers are very fundamentalistic. So they're saying that if a father rapes the daughter and the daughter is pregnant, no, she can't have an abortion. If you get raped or if there's, you know, some fucked up incest, then you cannot get an abortion. You can't get an abortion. That's God, that's a life, and we need to protect the fucking innocent. Okay, that's just a control thing. It's to control women's bodies. It's to control women's choices. It's to control the whole fucking thing. Joshua Gouker is an oppressor. He's a controller. Do the fuck as I say. And that was it. That was the whole fucking point. That's why Trey Zwicker got killed, because he was a controller. He was a manipulator. And the entire right to life movement is just, you know, it's fucking bullshit. It's more pro-birth. They don't actually give a shit about the you know, the life of the baby once it's born. Once it's born, then it's totally on their own, right? No health care, no education. Send them off to wars based on lies so they get their fucking heads blown off. When they're 14 years old, go ahead and just beat them with a pipe, and that's acceptable. Now, these motherfuckers don't have a shred of morality. They don't give a shit. The whole abortion argument is about control. It's about power, domination over women's bodies and, you know, and women themselves. So